court. Things are a lot more congested. There's a lot more bodies in the paint. There's a lot less driving lanes. And if he's not knocking down his shot, it becomes a struggle. He shoots poorer percentages and things like that. Our offense sucks. The guy who's supposed to take care of our offense is Austin Reeves. But now he's on the scouting report. Now he's considered the third best player on our team. Should he be the third best player on the team? That's up for debate. The guy who should be the third best player on the team should be D'Angelo Russell, the former number 2 overall pick of the Los Angeles Lakers. That should be the third best player on the team. But right now he hasn't been playing like that. Opportunity, scheme, minutes, coaching philosophies, all those different things kind of contribute to that happening. But you should, as a number 2 overall pick, be able to overcome all of that, because your talent at the time of being drafted says you should have been able to overcome all of that. So therefore, we have this situation with D'Angelo Russell not being our third best player. Now we have Austin Reeves, who ends up being our third best player because he gets to the hole, he gets to the foul line, he can knock down the shot, and he can make plays. He's a secondary playmaker, but he's not a primary playmaker like D'Angelo Russell, which is where the problem is at. Issue is, too, when you're on a LeBron James team, as much as he wants someone else to do this, he rarely allows them to do this because it's in his DNA to run a squad, and that's be the primary playmaker, the primary ball handler. That is not LeBron James' MO. That's not how he operates. That's not how he works best. The ball's always best when it's in LeBron's hands. The offense always works when LeBron James is dictating it. But as LeBron is getting older and the athleticism is waning in certain areas like quick twitch, quick burst, those type of things, even in some of his vertical athleticism, especially in the half court, those things start to wax and wane, right? So when they're waxing and waning, we're dealing with how are we going to score in this half court? They're shutting the paint down. They're doubling AD. AD is getting 5 and 6 shots in a quarter, sometimes 10 shots in a quarter. Then he goes 2 quarters with 2 shots. Like, it's too much fluctuation with the shot distribution because of how the teams are playing us, right? So we need a boost to the offense. That's where Zach Lavine would come in. Zach Lavine is an athletic guard now. He has injury issues. He's coming off of a foot injury this season. He's had knee injuries in the past. So there are some concerns physically with Zach Lavine. But he can shoot the basketball. He can play make. He can finish in a half court. He can finish in transition. He finishes great at the rim. He is a really good offensive player. Has the athletic attributes to be a really good defensive player as well. But we haven't seen that as a number 1 guy. Would it be better for him to be a third option where he's not looked at as to be in the hub of the team's offense, but the catalyst of that offense in certain situations? I think that could be the case. The problem with Zach Lavine, though, ladies and gentlemen, is how much money this man makes, because he played well enough and had the leverage at the time with the Bulls to garner a max deal. That means the man's making $40+ million, and at some point he's going to be making $50 million near the end of the contract. That becomes difficult for the Lakers to trade for. Why? Because we hard capped ourselves by signing Gabe Vincent. I can't believe this dude is hurt. Another Miami player coming to the squad, getting hurt, not playing. What a shocker, but whatever. And because of the fact that we gave Taurean Prince the biannual exception, we are now hard capped, meaning we cannot go over this luxury tax line, right? And we have a $4 million cushion currently at this particular time. So in order to trade for Zach Lavine, we essentially have to match the salary. Normally, you have some wiggle room, 120% variance on that, right? So perfectly fine. But in this case, we are actually going to have to trade dollar for dollar, essentially, which then means we have to trade several players. D'Lo, Rui, Reeves, Gabe Vincent, all options, right? You don't want to trade Reeves, so then you would have to trade Rui, D'Lo, Jalen Hood-Schifino, which is still a little bit short far as with the hard cap, meaning that if you do make that trade with just those 3 players, 2 of them, one of which is not really in the rotation, the other 2 that are, you're then changing up things and kind of handcuffing yourself in the ability to still add other pieces to the team. But the fit is very, very, very solid. It's almost like a perfect fit offensively. Almost a perfect fit offensively. Defensively, you're going to have some issues, especially with him being your lead guard, especially if you can't bring back Alex Caruso in that type of deal. You don't have a real point of attack defender at the guard position. You're going to cause Zach Lavine to have to do that, and that could get him into a situation where he's injured again. So that's where you're kind of lacking in that regard. Don't know if that's something that you want to do. Right? But the firepower is there. The fact that you compare him next to Anthony Davis in the future with LeBron James being potentially gone after 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons. Who knows how long this guy's going to play. That's an opportunity for us. However, the injury history for both him and Anthony Davis becomes a concern, so it gives you a little bit of pause, right? The next option you have is going to be DeJounte Murray. Now, DeJounte Murray is a really good option. Sorry, y'all, I'm in the car real quick, reporting outside. It's kind of hot in the car, even though it's freaking cold outside. So apologies for the noises and sounds, you feel me? Not in a normal studio, I'm out and about. So I wanted to kind of record with y'all today. But another option is going to be DeJounte Murray. Now, DeJounte Murray I believe is a really good fit, not a better Zach Lavine, because offensively, Zach Lavine is better than DeJounte Murray. But defensively, DeJounte Murray is better than him. Right now, the numbers seem pretty similar or even when it comes to defensively between the two, just because DeJounte Murray's defense is kind of backslid a little bit, right? But DeJounte Murray is a two-way player. He can be a secondary creator, but also can be a primary ball handler, can attack the paint. From the numbers, they say he doesn't finish well at the rim, as well as you would think he should with his athleticism and speed, but the wingspan is ridiculous. Like, he's 6'5" with like a 6'9" or 6'10" wingspan. His long arms. He's quick, has quick hands. Was once an all-defensive player. So, and right now he's shooting 40% from the field. This month he's shooting 50%, averaging 25 a game. But he's averaging 25, shooting about 38% from the 3 this season. So, averaging about 5 assists. So, he's having a really good year. And this is playing next to a ball-dominant guy in Trae Young. So, you see it's just not in the same fashion or capacity like LeBron does, but he does dominate the basketball. So, you see that he can thrive in that regard. Put him in this position. He's 27 years old, he's been groomed by Pop. He's got an opportunity to spread his wings a little bit on his own to try to help be a spearhead of an organization with another star. That's not working as well. So now you pair him with the LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You have your big three. If you're able to keep Austin Reeves, now you still have your other scorer. So if I was the Lakers, I would try to keep Austin Reeves, because then if you have DeJounte Murray, Austin Reeves in your backcourt, you can then either play Torian in certain situations depending on the matchup, Vanderbilt in certain situations depending on the matchup, or Cam in certain situations depending on the matchup. If this was the case and you wanted to have DeJounte Murray as your starting guard and you have Austin Reeves as your 2 guard, then I would say put Vanderbilt in there. If you wanted to go back to where you have DeJounte Murray as your starter, and you want to take Austin to put him on the bench because you've traded D'Lo for DeJounte Murray, and have your Austin be your backup point guard, perfect. Especially since it's going to be really hard for the Lakers to trade Gabe Vincent. He's going to be your point of attack defensive player off the bench in the future, especially if you have DeJounte Murray. Your defense just takes an uptick. Now, some of the drawbacks of it is he is not a scorer far as like when it comes to shooting. He is a scorer. That means he gets streaky when it comes to the jump shot. He can get to the bucket. He can get to the free throw line, but he's not a shooter. So, as a Laker fan, we all know this. We get shooters. They come to the team. The percentages die. Taurean Prince is actually trying to debunk that, when a few other players have debunked it in the past, because he's close to 40%. So hopefully he can maintain that. But that's one concern I may have, but I think it's a small concern. I think personally the best thing to do is try your best to go after DeJounte. And here's why. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to mention other names as like an aside, add other names there. But here's why I would actually consider DeJounte Murray over Zach Lavine. One, like I mentioned before, is going to take a lot to get Zach Lavine, right? They're going to, especially, you're not going to be able to, you can more than likely keep your first round pick, but you're going to have to trade D'Lo. They're going to probably ask a reason. They're going to try your best not to give it to him. So you're going to end up having to give him Max. You're going to have to give him Rui. And you're going to have to give him maybe even Gabe Vincent, so that way you can potentially take back maybe Andre Drummond if they're willing to trade that, or Javon Carter to get you a backup point of attack defender to go along with them. But you're going to have to trade a lot to get this dude, which then means you have to then field the team after that, and it's really hard to field the team after that once you have that cap on your salary, right? You don't have the ability to just sign and sign and sign and wave and sign and wave and sign. We're going to have to actually trade for this man and hopefully have enough room to do that. So you're working with a lot of cap gymnastics when it comes to that, and cap gymnastics is not a thing you want to be doing, especially when you're a floundering team like the Lakers are right now. He fits offensively. He fits the star power mode. He fits what the Lakers like to do. He fits what we need far as the offensive punch, because he's just going to bring a tremendous amount of offensive punch to the team. And you know he wants to be here. He's been a Laker fan. He said it. He's been a Kobe fan. He said he would love to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That, all well and good. If they did that, I would not be mad at that. I would actually celebrate it. I would go get his jersey, right? Why do I think DeJounte Murray is a better fit? This is why I think DeJounte Murray is a better fit. One, he adds the two-way capability that you know he can bring. With Zach Lavine, you're hoping that his athleticism and his physical traits will lend him to one of them, and they're having LeBron James and Anthony Davis on his team to take away some of the scoring load, that he could put more effort in on the defense. But you know that has been DeJounte Murray's MO, is to play on the defense. Recently, it has not been the case. Reputation is everything. So he has a reputation of being a defender. The next thing, he makes $17 million. I think it's like $18 million. So you're able to easily make a trade. Now, if you have to trade in Austin Reeves and let's say a Jalen Hood-Schifino, so that way you can keep your pick. I wouldn't want to trade Austin Reeves. Just to make this clear, I wouldn't want to trade Austin Reeves. But if you were to trade Austin Reeves and not have to trade a pick, you still have Rui. You still have D'Lo. You would still have your pick. You'd be able to do something. Another thing that I heard in reports is that with us getting Austin, if we had to trade Austin Reeves, it could entice the Atlanta Hawks to actually send you something in addition to DeJounte Murray. Could that be a first-round pick from the Sacramento Kings? So that way you can use that plus D'Angelo Russell and Rui Hachimura for another bigger piece. Very possible, right? You could use that. Or they could send Austin Reeves with, let's say, a Rui Hachimura. Or if we have to trade you Austin Reeves, we want to trade D'Angelo Russell. You have to take that. Give us Bogey. So you would get DeJounte Murray and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Then at that point, you've traded a bench player and a starter, because you can flip-flop between Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell. That's who's the starter and who's the bench player. And you would bring in two starting caliber players in DeJounte Murray and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Then at that particular point, in that 6'7", he's 6'7", y'all. He is not short. He is not a 6'4", 6'5" guard. Bogdan Bogdanovic is 6'6", 6'7". You would add size and length to your backcourt. Then you can then either play a Taurean Prince, a Vanderbilt, Cam Reddish. You may even still have Max on your team to be able to give more minutes to Max now, right? So you have those options there. Like I also said, if you're able to trade, let's say, a JHS and an Austin Reeves for a DeJounte Murray, like I said, then you have an ability to trade Rui and D'Lo, which is $17, that's $35 million, and maybe you have an extra pick to be able to do some damage, and now you've remade your team. I don't know about making a wholesale change like that, where you're just changing so many different players, because you're going to be halfway through the season. You're going to need time to gel. You're going to need time to be cohesive. You're not going to have much practice time because the Lakers barely practice now. So getting that familiarity with each other